Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka Jalon33. I'm back here today with another video for you guys, and this is a little bit of a bonus segment from the Legit Shoot podcast. You guys know I like to do these bonus videos every once in a while when I have something on my mind that I want to talk about just single-handedly in a video. And I'll be honest with you guys right off the bat, this video is probably not going to be that pleasant. I expect to get heated pretty quickly, especially if you guys read the title. You guys know how passionate I am about this subject, and things could get pretty loud here pretty quick. So fair warning for those of you guys wearing headphones especially. But before we get into what we're going to talk about, I don't know how long I'm going to go. I don't plan to make this a super long video, but you never know. Once I get started, I can be talking for a long time. But I just want to give you guys a quick announcement. If you guys didn't know already or haven't seen it already, my SummerSlam review is live on the channel. It was pretty long. It was a 3-hour podcast, probably the longest podcast we've ever done in the history of the show. We talked about SummerSlam. Plus, we also did kind of like a mini live reaction to NXT TakeOver 36 because that was going on while I was recording. So, for those of you guys who haven't checked out already, go check it out. We talked about John Cena, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, who we are going to talk about in this video. And as you guys can see, I did not change my layout yet. This is the one we use for the SummerSlam layout. I know some of you guys have been asking, do I make my own layouts? And, I kind of do. I don't fully make my own layouts, but I kind of do. But anyway, I honestly don't give a fuck. I know someone's going to be like, oh, you didn't change your layout. Really, honestly, I don't care right now. I don't. Because my anger with WWE, especially when it comes to the women's division, gets more and more heated by the day, right? And some of you guys know this about me. When I'm not watching Raw or AEW or NXT or anything like that, I don't pay too much attention to what's going on with wrestling because it's already hard enough to have to record Monday Night Raw reviews and do SmackDown, and now I'm going to start doing AEW and all this other stuff. It's already difficult enough to have to balance all that, for a weekly podcast, and it's already overwhelming with how much wrestling content we get a week, right? So I try to stay away from wrestling when, I'm not reviewing or watching the shows, because like I said, it's just too much. But I'm just going through Twitter today, and look, I did say that I would keep you guys updated with the Sasha Banks situation. We still don't have any official reason for why she was taken out of the SmackDown Women's Championship match at SummerSlam. We still haven't been told if it was for COVID, if it was for an injury, if it was just personal. We don't. I did read something that said that her absence had nothing to do with an injury, which, I kind of thought because she was on SmackDown, a couple weeks ago with the contract signing, and then the night after, she wasn't there at any of the house shows. So I was like, when could she have gotten injured? Unless it was like falling down some stairs or something like that, because she hadn't had any matches in the ring. So I had a feeling that it wasn't really injury related, but we haven't been given any specific reason for it. And still, we don't have any specific reason for it. But earlier today, JD from NY, you guys know JD, of where he's one of the most popular content creators in the on YouTube. He tweeted this. Becky Lynch's heel turn was apparently her idea, Dave Meltzer said. They went with her as a heel, and they're going to try to use her to elevate Bianca Belair. That's the idea. Wasn't that the reason to main event WrestleMania? Isn't that creative job after Sasha Banks' help? And it's very interesting about that tweet, because that's when my anger is stemming from. And I'm going to read you guys the rumor roundup from IW Nerd. They're very, very credible. All right, so basically half of the article they posted earlier today was just backstage notes on Becky Lynch and what happened at SummerSlam. So the first note that I'll read to you guys is, and I quote, according to John Elba on Twitter, WWE's merchandise team was told only 48 hours before SummerSlam that Becky Lynch was returning. This shows that her return was something that was last. This shows that her return was something that was last minute and not planned in advance, right? And you guys saw that after SummerSlam, right away, actually, they had these T-shirts for Becky, right? The man is back in Vegas, and you can get them on WWE Shop, whatever. That's your business, your money. But what's interesting is, first thing that struck to me is 48 hours before SummerSlam. So if you're thinking 48 hours, that would be Thursday, right? That was still before what is it? Before SmackDown, right? Because we didn't know if Sasha was going to appear on that SmackDown. We had gotten reports that the match was still on, but there was still really no other information given outside of that. So if WWE knew that Becky was gonna be there at least by Thursday, and if they knew that, they probably didn't. And the WWE shop, they clearly didn't know, because they would have this merch already ready and set to go. So this tells me that WWE knew that Sasha was not going to be able to compete going into Friday's SmackDown. And you guys, I've already bitched and ran about this, but I'll remind you guys again. If WWE knew before SmackDown, the second that WWE knew that Sasha was not going to be able to compete at SummerSlam, the match should have been canceled. I don't care if it was that house show last weekend. I don't care if it was on Monday. I don't care if it was sometime during the week. Especially if they knew 48 hours beforehand. There is no fucking excuse that you can give me. Not one excuse you can give for them putting on that match and marketing it on SummerSlam. No reason. Unless they didn't know that Sasha was not going to be there the second before SummerSlam went on the air. Last minute. There was no fucking reason for them to market the match. There was no reason for them to give the video packages and let everyone believe, oh, we're getting Sasha and Bianca in the rematch. No reason. I don't care what their excuse is. That is disloyal to their fans. It's a slap in the face to Sasha Banks. It's a slap in the face to Bianca Belair. It's a slap in the face to anybody that cares about women's wrestling. It's a slap in the face to anybody that had any investment in that match. From 0.1 to 99.9 to 100%. There's no excuse. I don't care if you didn't know till Thursday. That means you had a full 48 hours. How fucking hard would it have been just to go on SmackDown and say, oh, Sasha's not going to be able to compete due to unforeseen circumstances, and a replacement would be found for Bianca Belair this Saturday at SummerSlam. And then if you wanted to do the whole Carmella bullshit and have Becky come out, fine. I'm not talking about, Becky beating Bianca in 26 seconds, right? No, I'm just talking about right now the marketing. You should not have marketed the match if you knew 2 days beforehand that Sasha was not going to be able to compete for whatever reason. That you don't have any business. No. I don't care if you're trying to use Sasha's name value to keep interest. That is not fair to anybody that cared about this match. It's that simple. Why would you market a match? Why would you market someone that you knew was not going to be on the show beforehand? Even if it was 48 hours. I don't care what the excuse is. Unless it was last minute, there is no excuse for them marketing that match. Not one excuse. 48 hours is fucking insane. 2 whole days. 2 whole days. When Drew McIntyre got COVID, we knew right away. Come on, it's not fair to us. It's not fair. What if a Sasha Banks fan saved up all their money all year with everything that's happened to go to that show to see that match, and then they find out, oh, Sasha's not going to be on the show. And that you knew about it, and still you gave off the impression that she was going to be at that show because you said nothing. They gave no indication on WWE TV or on social media or anywhere that Sasha was not going to be on the show. They kept acting like the match was still happening. If you knew Sasha was not going to be there 48 hours and you had already started making plans for Becky Lynch to come back, Then you should have told the fans, hey, Sasha's not going to be able to compete, and we're making plans, to have Bianca face somebody else. It's that fucking simple. It's that simple. It's not that hard. We're not mad that Becky Lynch was a replacement for Sasha. Unless it came out that WWE intensely chose that Becky replace Sasha. And they never had plans to do the match in the first place between Sasha and Bianca. Then that's different. But if you knew Sasha was not going to be able to compete and you had to make changes to the match knowing that, right? And you wanted Becky to be the replacement, that's fine. But don't insult our intelligence by marketing a match you know is not going to take place. That is not fair for the people who paid to be in that arena to see that match and were given the impression that the match was going to take place. And for the people paying on Peacock, the people buying, the merch for the show, thinking that the match is going to happen when you knew 48 hours in advance the match is not going to happen. It's really that simple. It's not fair. AEW wouldn't do that. And I hate to bring AEW into this, but they would have canceled the match. And they would have let their fans know, like, hey, do you know Sasha can't compete? We're going to find a replacement for her. It's that simple. It's not hard. It's not hard. If something happened with Sasha, that's her business. But at least let us know in advance, oh, she's not going to be able to compete. And when you're able to give us a reason, right, when Sasha's ready to tell us why she wasn't able to compete, so be it. We'll deal with that then. But now you're bringing more fire to the situation because now everyone's asking why Sasha couldn't compete, and you made us believe that she could compete. Everyone's asking questions. People would not be asking as many questions about Sasha right now if you had just said the match was not going to take place in advance. It's because you marketed the match and made us believe it was going to happen that now everyone's sitting in shock like, what the fuck happened? What's happening with Sasha? Because Sasha's been radio silent on social media during the build-up to SummerSlam and in the past week before SmackDown and before last Saturday. Sasha was on social media. She was tweeting. She was posting stuff on her story. She giving up every impression that she was going to be able to compete at SummerSlam. All of a sudden, she's not able to compete at SummerSlam, and she's gone ghost on social media, and we have no idea what's happening. And it's concerning now. And it's concerning. You could have made this situation so much less. It could have been so much less than what it is. Because you were too stubborn just to say, oh, the match is not happening. It's that simple. You're doing a disservice to your fans. Vince and everybody else involved, you guys are doing a disservice to your fans the way you treat us. Really. Because we're the ones paying money. We're the ones that make WWE happen. We're the ones that keep this company afloat. And yet you go treat us like that. And not even tell us when one of our favorite superstars is not going to be able to compete. How fair is that to the people who give all to be fans of WWE? It's not fair. It's not fair. I don't care about what this report says about the merchandise team. Who gives a shit? I don't care about the WWE shop. I don't. I might buy something from there every once in a while. Maybe like a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt or a Sasha shirt. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't. This is not about the WWE shop. This is about them knowing 48 hours in advance that Becky was going to return at SummerSlam, and that most likely meaning that they knew at the same time, 48 hours in advance, that Sasha was not going to be able to compete. But you still didn't do the right thing and let us know Sasha can't compete at SummerSlam. It's really that simple. Really is that simple. Fucking hell, bro. So, next up, right, going to part 2 of this article. Next up, according to Mike Johnson of PWI Insider, Becky Lynch is considered to be a heel by WWE. She's going to be the top heel on the Blue brand going forward. This is what Johnson wrote, right? We are told that going forward, Becky Lynch will be positioned as the top heel on SmackDown, initially feuding with Bianca Belair. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to assume that this means the top heel in the women's division, right? Even though Becky Lynch is, popularity-wise, one of the biggest stars in the company, But still, Roman's been the number one heel in the entire company for the last year. Unless some kind of big major change is about to, take over. But I would expect Becky to continue to be a heel. I mean, I would guess Becky would be the number 2 heel on SmackDown and the number 1 heel in the women's division. But here's the thing. And, it also says later in this article, and I already read it earlier, it was Becky Lynch's choice. Becky was the one that requested to be heel. Kind of like how Roman requested to be heel when he came back last year. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with Becky Lynch wanting to be a heel. It's going to be interesting because, remember, we've seen WWE try Becky Lynch as a heel before. If you guys remember, just a couple years ago, right before the man character took off, Becky was supposed to be a heel. She was supposed to turn heel at SummerSlam, and the fans were so against it, and WWE's agenda at the time, that WWE could only keep Becky heel for a month, and they had to turn her back into the babyface. And then the man character was born. Look, I don't have a problem with Becky being a heel. I don't know how it's going to go over with the fans, because yes, Becky did lose some fans, and that's on WWE. Becky lost some fans at SummerSlam because of her booking. Because I'll say this, I used to be a big fan of Becky Lynch. I still do like her to a degree. But the thing is, she's been overbooked. And imagine that. Somebody that's been gone for a year and a half, pregnant, had a child, all this. And I've been talking about Becky Lynch's return most of the summer. Somebody who was pregnant and had a child, who was gone for a year and a half. Imagine them coming back, and the first thing you're saying after their return is, I'm excited to see, I'm excited to see what they're going to do now that they're back. No. We're all talking about how Becky Lynch lost fans because of it. Becky Lynch is overbooked. Overbooked. Look at who are the 2 top women's champions now in WWE. Charlotte and Becky. It was the same exact way before Becky was pregnant. It was the same exact way the year beforehand, when Becky and Charlotte have not been on opposite brands since the birth of the man character. Becky and Charlotte have always been positioned as the top of the divisions. No matter if it was Raw or SmackDown or Raw, it didn't matter what brand those two were on. That's the way it's been positioned since Becky has been the man. And nobody else has gotten over during that time. You've had Asuka and Ronda Rousey and Sasha and Bayley, but that's it. Here we are. When was the man character born? 2019? Correct? Let me think about that. Was it 2019? Yeah, 2019. Or no, the man character was born in 2018. My bad. What's crazy, it's already been almost 3 years since that character was born. But 2018, the character was born. It's been nearly 3 years. And during that time, how many people have actually gotten over? Look at all the superstars that have come and gone during that time. From the Ruby Riots, to the Liv Morgans, the Shayna Baszlers, now the Bianca Belairs, Rhea Ripley. How many of those superstars have gotten over since the birth of the man character? Almost nobody. Almost nobody. Bianca had a glimmer of hope, but now she's right back to square one after Becky buried her at SummerSlam. Rhea Ripley also had hope, but the way Rhea Ripley was presented when she first came to the main roster and then was not done correctly, and then Rhea tried building herself up. She tried, and then Charlotte buried her over the last couple pay-per-views. And now Rhea Ripley as Raw Women's Champion is never going to be believable again. And Sasha and Bayley, as great as they are, and I will say this, Sasha and Bayley are leagues better than Becky and Charlotte. But the best part of their careers, and this is sad for me to say, this is truly sad for what I'm about to say. The best part of Bayley and Sasha's careers was when Becky was pregnant and Charlotte was getting breast surgery. It's that simple, because they weren't on the show during that time. So Sasha and Bayley were the ones that were called to lead the women's division. And damn, did they do a great job. Sasha and Bayley elevated that women's division to another degree. They were the most important thing on TV during the early months of the pandemic. And then Sasha carrying the SmackDown women's division with her feud with Bayley, and then doing a great job as SmackDown Women's Champion. Regardless of how bad her booking was at time, she did a great job as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And then Bayley, right? Bayley, still, when she wasn't holding the SmackDown Women's Championship, doing a great job of trying to elevate Bianca Belair. Even with all the issues Bianca was having presentation-wise. And it's sad that right when Charlotte and Becky come back, all the hard work that Sasha and Bayley did is just brushed to the side. It's just like it doesn't even fucking matter. It's like they did nothing for the company. Bayley's out with injury. Sasha, we don't know what's going on with her. And Charlotte and Becky are right back where they were before the pandemic. Before everything went to shit. Right? Right back at the top while everybody else is in catering. Nobody else matters. Nobody else is built up to be special. Because it's the Becky and Charlotte show. I'm sorry, Becky fans. Becky is overbooked. Ever since Becky became the man. And she beat Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania in that very disappointing triple threat main event. Becky Lynch has been overbooked. She has been overbooked, and I don't care how many times I have to say it. Overbooked. She has a very, very passionate fan base, but that doesn't negate the fact that her fan base, if they are true wrestling fans and not stupid marks, they would recognize how overbooked Becky is. SummerSlam proved it. I already talked about WrestleMania when she should have gave the title up to Shayna Baszler. And I don't want to hear the excuse that Vince McMahon is the one that chooses the booking. If Becky truly wanted to drop the title to Shayna, she would have done it. Period. They was not going to fire Becky if she dropped that title to Shayna out of her own free will. There's no way they would have done that. No. Becky would have gone on and went pregnant, right? Had her kid and then came back. But no. Becky can talk all she wants about how she wanted to drop that title to Shayna. I don't care. It didn't happen. If it didn't happen, then it didn't happen. I don't want to hear Becky go on the Bella's podcast and talk about how she wanted to elevate Shayna and make her into a star. If you truly cared about making Shayna into a star, you would have done that. That's what you would have done. Same thing goes for Charlotte. If Charlotte truly cared about some of the other people in that division, like Rhea Ripley, like Nikki ASH, like Asuka, she wouldn't be accepting title reign after title reign after title reign. She could easily go to Vince. She could easily go to Creative and be like, hey, I want to take a break from the title scene for a little bit. I've had so many title reigns. Now I want to give opportunities for other people to shine. Because look, the Raw Women's division is garbage right now. Who's taking that title off of Charlotte? Who is taking that title off of Charlotte? Nobody. Asuka? No. Right? Rhea Ripley? Fuck no. Rhea Ripley's never going to beat Charlotte Flair on the main roster as long as Vince is in charge. That's a far cry. You want me to believe that Rhea Ripley would ever beat Charlotte on the main roster? Hell no. She had what? How many chances has she had to do that? And she hasn't done it. 4 or 5 chances at this point? It's never happening. It's not happening. All right? Nikki ASH? What? Nikki got that one lucky Money in the Bank cash in on Charlotte, and then, she beat Charlotte 2 weeks later in the No Holds Barred match, but it didn't matter. WWE had her drop the towel a month later at SummerSlam a couple days ago. Nikki ASH never gained that title, and she'll never be over again. Never. Right? Nikki ASH is buried with maybe the most wasted Money in the Bank cash in history. Probably. Especially when it comes to the women's side. A absolute wasted cash in. We wait 1 year, every single year. We wait a whole year for Money in the Bank, excited for somebody potentially to become a star in the process. And they've wasted the women's Money in the Bank pretty much the last couple years. Absolutely ridiculous. And who else in that division? What? Alexa Bliss? The more time goes on, the more people that get angry that Alexa Bliss is continuing with the Lily character. Because people are frustrated that character belonged to The Fiend. And then you release The Fiend And you just gave that character and everything the Fiend put into it just to Alexa Bliss. And she's not even doing that good a job with it at the moment. You think Alexa Bliss is going to beat Charlotte? Since they teased the Alexa and Charlotte feud on Raw? Fuck no. Alexa's not going to beat Charlotte for that title. And who else is on that division? Shayna Baszler? I would love to see Shayna Baszler in the main event scene. But no. They clearly, they buried her at WrestleMania last year to Becky Lynch, and she hasn't recovered since. One of the negative consequences of the overbooking of Charlotte and Becky. You could see it right in Shayna's eyes. Just like Rhea, just like Nikki, just like Bianca now. Who else? Nia Jax? Fuck no, please. Doudrop? Yeah, right. And don't even make me say her name, Eva fucking Marie. Don't even try to put that thought in someone's head. That would never happen in a million years. All right? WWE would be asking for every single person invested in the women's division to go to AEW and watch Britt Baker if they ever considered putting Eva Marie as the Raw Women's Champion. Get that shit out of your heads, people. So you can see the overbooking that's been done. The overbook, and it's atrocious. It's atrocious. So what? You're turning Becky heel, and you're expecting, fans to start booing Becky. So, and like I said, some probably will because of Becky's overbooking. Because it doesn't matter if you like Becky or not. You have to agree with me on this. The decision to have Becky come back and take the SmackDown Women's title from Bianca, especially in the manner in which they did it, 26 fucking seconds, was one of the worst booking decisions of the year. And I don't care what anybody says. It was a atrocious decision. Atrocious decision. And Becky's probably going to get boos naturally just for that booking decision being made. Becky could have easily said, hey, why do I have to turn heel in this manner? If Becky truly cared about Bianca, Becky could have been like, oh no, I'll go out there and I'll tease a feud with Bianca. Or we can go out there and have a really good match, 15 to 20 minutes, and Bianca can win, and then we could set the stage. Some fly just flew on me. But then we can set the stage for a longer story and a longer feud going into the fall on SmackDown. But no, Becky accepted. Becky accepted coming out there and taking that title from Bianca in 26 seconds. She had no problem with it. She's sitting there at her home, breastfeeding her child, probably having no problem that she buried Bianca Belair in the process of her return. And any impact and any value that her return had was lost the second she got the 3 count after hitting that manhandle slam on Bianca. It's that simple. People are not going to forget that visual and that moment of Bianca standing on the stage crying. No, people are not going to forget that for a long, long time. Because all the work you put into Bianca has been wasted. So, if you want to turn Becky into a heel, sure, fine. But there was a better way to do it. Way better way to do it. And Becky's already lost fans as it is because of WWE's bad booking mistakes. And her choosing to go with those bad booking mistakes. It's that simple. Alright? It's dumb. It's dumb. We can talk about, if the fans are going to cheer Becky or not. But still, the decision to turn Becky heel and the way it was done lost Becky fans in the process anyway. I'm not going to say that, people were just going to naturally turn on Becky Lynch because of SummerSlam, right? Altogether. There was going to be some fans, like myself, that were going to turn on Becky Lynch for what happened at SummerSlam. But that doesn't mean everyone's just going to boo Becky Lynch for a lifetime now. But now you want her to be heel. And she wants to be heel as well. But the reason for Becky's heel turn, this is the one that gets me mad. This is the one that gets me mad the most. So Dave Meltzer said it was Becky Lynch who requested to turn heel. They went with her as a heel, and they're going to try to use her to elevate Bianca Belair. That's the idea. So Becky didn't look like a heel on SummerSlam. She was clearly pandering to the crowd and everything like that. But people are gonna look to her, distracted Bianca. I forget how she did it. And then, the manhandle slam. People are going to look at that as, oh, that's where Becky was turning heel. The shit that gets me mad the most is this line. They're going to try to use her to elevate Bianca Belair. That's the idea. What the fuck is wrong with these people? I'm going to give you guys an example before I go back into this. Roman Reigns, right? Roman Reigns right now, he's the top heel in WWE. He's on this fantastic run as the Universal Champion. I don't have to tell you guys how great Roman Reigns has been over the last year. One of the most dominant title reigns we've seen in recent memory. Like, I don't have to tell you guys that. You guys know it. You guys are smart. You guys know it, right? But before Roman turned heel, how many fucking times did this guy get commenced? How many commencement ceremonies did this guy need? How many times did Roman Reigns have to be put on a pedestal and WWE say, oh, this is our number one guy, where we didn't already know it? The first time was WrestleMania 31. WrestleMania 31 against Brock Lesnar. It actually was, one of the best WrestleMania main event moments of all time. Right? Seth Rollins' cash-in. We don't know how great that moment was. So then the year after, they had Roman Reigns win the WWE Championship. I think it was, 3 times in a half a year span. He won it at Survivor Series and then lost it moments later to Sheamus via cash-in. Then he won it at the he won it, what was it? He won it on the New Year's edition of Raw. Right, he won it back on the New Year's edition of Raw two months later. Then he lost at the Royal Rumble to Triple H. Then he got his second commencement at WrestleMania. What was it? What WrestleMania was that? WrestleMania 32, I believe, in Dallas. Yeah, WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. He beat Triple H in the main event for the WWE Championship in what is a forgettable WrestleMania main event. Clearly, the main event of that show was the triple threat between Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. Right? A very forgetful main event with Roman and Triple H. You would never catch me going back to watch that match. So that was his second commencement. So then, flash forward a year, then you have Roman face The Undertaker. An old Undertaker. As John Cena said, a brutal veteran at the end of his career with a bad hip. This was not The Undertaker from the Attitude Era. This was a much less version of The Undertaker. So you have The Undertaker, right, put Roman over again, in the main event of WrestleMania 33. And, we all thought that was The Undertaker's retirement ceremony. Roman, spearing Undertaker through the table and hitting him with multiple spears to end that match. And then the night after, Roman getting booed out the building because Roman sits there and then he says, this is my yard now. That should have been the night when you turned Roman heel and you started this head of the table gimmick. That honestly should have been the night Roman turned heel. But, anyway, that's besides the point I'm trying to make. So then, next year, for the 4th year in a row, you have Roman in the main event of WrestleMania. And now this year he's facing Brock Lesnar again. And that was probably the worst Roman Reigns WrestleMania main event match. That match against freaking, what's his name, Brock Lesnar was pitiful. All it was, Lesnar hit 7 F5s. Roman hit 30 spears, couldn't get the pinfall. And then all we remember is at the end of the night, Roman sitting there bleeding. After Brock was just truly frustrated with Roman. So you're just clearly trying to put Roman on the pedestal and let people know that he's the guy, right? That he's the guy. You have Triple H, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar. Later that same year, you kept doing Roman and Brock. You did Roman and Brock again at SummerSlam. And then you had Roman beat Brock in 2 minutes with a couple spears. It was like a shock victory. Terrible way to end that show. Right? And then you have Roman beat John Cena at No Mercy. So you have all these guys putting Roman on, right? You have all these guys elevate, keyword, elevate Roman Reigns. so that people would look at him as the top of the company, but it never did anything because none of us wanted to accept Roman as the top guy in the company because you kept shoving him down our fucking throats. It wasn't until Roman came back and reinvented himself and came up with this head of the table gimmick that we finally accepted Roman as the top guy. Because this is the Roman we wanted. Not the vest Roman, right? We wanted this Roman. And this is why Roman's reign has, no pun intended, this is why Roman's reign as Universal Champion has been so successful. But the thing is, you had all those guys elevate Roman, right? They were supposed to elevate him with all those big matches, championship matches, and moments, and it never did the job. So, what does that have to do with this whole situation with Becky Lynch turning heel? Was it the fucking point? Was it the fucking point of Sasha losing at WrestleMania, going 0-6? The best female wrestler of all time, in my opinion. The best female wrestler in the world. Was it the whole fucking point of her taking another WrestleMania loss? Was that she could elevate Bianca Belair and make a new women's superstar in the process. The next women's superstar after Asuka, after Ronda, after the Four Horsewomen. The next big female star that was going to be a big thing in WWE for years and years to come. Was it at the fucking point? Was it at the point of Bianca winning the Royal Rumble? So, the job was already pretty much done. That's what WrestleMania main events do. When you beat somebody the caliber of Sasha Banks in the main event of WrestleMania, you're supposed to be made. That's supposed to be your star-making moment. Sasha decided, hey, I'm going to lose that match, right? Because there was many people, even the fucking Bella Twins, the Bella Twins of all people everywhere were saying it would be a special moment if Sasha won that match. Especially for everything that she's done for the women's division. Everything. Sasha's done so much for the women's division and never won a WrestleMania match. Never. And nobody would have complained if Sasha had beaten Bianca. No one would have complained if Sasha had beaten Bianca at WrestleMania. Nobody. If Charlotte or Becky were in those shoes, then you would have got those complaints. Because those two are overbooked pieces of crap. Right? Sasha decided, no. It matters more to me that Bianca looks like a star and I elevate her to the highest point I possibly can than me winning a WrestleMania match. Sasha decided, I'm going to take another WrestleMania L just to make Bianca look like a star. And that's exactly what she did. They put on the greatest women's wrestling match in WrestleMania history. And everybody was talking about it so much that moments after that match ended, people were already saying, all right, let's have Sasha and Bianca at SummerSlam. That's the story. That's the story. So then, even after that, right, Sasha disappeared from TV because, she was taking a break. And then we go into, the summer months. Bayley, who people, remember, Bayley, people were calling for Bayley to take that title off of Bianca. People were saying that. More people were rooting. And remember, Bianca had just beaten Sasha at WrestleMania. Her title reign was just getting started. There was more people calling for Bayley to take that title off of Bianca. And remember, Bayley had held that title 6 months prior. 6 months prior, Bayley had just finished holding that title for over a year, having one of the more dominant women's title reigns in recent memory. Way more dominant than any reign Charlotte's had, and way more dominant than Becky's 1 year as champion, as the Raw Women's Champion. So, people are calling for Bayley to defeat Bianca and take back the SmackDown Women's Championship at Money in the Bank. Right? And then it went into WrestleMania Backlash, or not Money in the Bank, going into WrestleMania Backlash, and whatever pay-per-view we had after that. I'm forgetting. I don't really remember, what pay-per-view we had in June. But you guys get the point. So, Sasha elevates Bianca at WrestleMania in the biggest way possible. And then Bayley does the same going to the next 2 pay-per-views. Oh, it was Hell in a Cell, where Bianca and Bayley actually had a pretty decent Hell in a Cell match. Wasn't, anything too crazy, like one of the best Hell in a Cell matches ever, but it was a decent match. So you have Bianca and Sasha doing everything in their power to elevate Bianca and truly make her into a star. And then we go through the rest of the summer, we get into SummerSlam, and then you have Becky come back, you have Becky be a fucking heel, and you have Becky bury Bianca in 26 seconds, and your reason for it is that Becky, as a heel, is supposed to elevate Bianca? What was the point of WrestleMania? What was the point? So you're telling me that Sasha basically elevated Bianca for nothing. Sasha gave Bianca a WrestleMania victory for nothing. Because in WWE's eyes, Bianca hasn't been elevated yet. Bianca's not a star yet. WrestleMania and the matches with Bayley should have done everything it needed to make Bianca a big star in their eyes. But no, you don't know what makes a star in 2021. You don't know jack shit about anything. You think, no, Becky squashing Bianca is the answer. No, what WWE should have done after WrestleMania, right? After Sasha did the best she could elevating Bianca at WrestleMania, it's WWE's creative job to capitalize on that momentum and make Bianca look strong in the months to follow. That's your job. Not to squash all the work that was done beforehand. Not to squash all the work that Sasha and Bayley put in to make Bianca look like a star. But no, like I said, Vince is so fucking out of touch, he doesn't even know what a star looks like anymore. That is crazy to me. And it's sad at the same time. He doesn't even know what a star is in 2021. He doesn't. You're going to sit there and tell me that you're elevating someone, making them into a bigger star, is having them buried and squashed in the most embarrassing way possible at the biggest show of the year in SummerSlam. That's how you elevate someone. Really? No, it's just an excuse. Just for Vince to have Becky and Charlotte back at the top of the divisions. Because that's all he gives a shit about. All he gives a shit about. When Finn Balor and now Samoa Joe, when they went back to NXT, notice, especially with Finn Balor didn't go after the NXT Championship right away. It took months to build up to him getting another NXT title reign. And he elevated people in the process during his reign. And that's exactly what Samoa Joe is going to do now that he is NXT champion once again. Right? Because, you could argue, you could say there could be people, if they wanted to, there could be people that say, oh, why the hell are Finn Balor and Samoa Joe allowed to become NXT champion again? But nobody complains about that. Nobody complains about that. Because in NXT, when Triple H is allowed to do his thing with his booking, right? And when Vince is not allowed to chime in and make his dumbass decisions, Triple H knows that these two are going to elevate whoever they're in the ring with. Finn Balor elevated the NXT Championship every single time he held it. Samoa Joe has elevated the NXT Championship every time he's held it. Becky and Charlotte, when they're at the top of the divisions, when they're holding the women's titles, they aren't elevating anybody. Like I asked earlier, who the fuck looks like a bigger star since Becky Lynch became the man? Back in 2018. Look at the entire roster. Who looks like a bigger star today because of Becky Lynch and Charlotte being at the top division? It's not Bianca. She's back at square one. Rhea Ripley? Nikki ASH? No. Asuka, Sasha, and Bayley are only... they're only viewed as top stars because remember Sasha and Bayley, 4 horsewomen. Even though it's not, to me personally, Sasha and Bayley are leagues better than Becky and Charlotte. It's not even a conversation to me personally. But there has been nobody else that has been built up and made a bigger star by the constant overbooking of Charlotte and Becky at the top of the women's division. Nobody else. And now you want to make this excuse of Becky Lynch being a heel to elevate Bianca. It's a slap in the face to Sasha Banks when I hear that. It really is a slap in the face. Because why couldn't you just had Sasha win at WrestleMania and then have Bianca win the title at SummerSlam if that's the way you wanted it to go? Right? Why couldn't you just done something like that? Why couldn't you just do that? I asked this before. I said this right after WrestleMania. I said it all summer. And I also said it this weekend especially. If you knew Bianca's title reign was going to end like that, would you have even given Bianca the win over Sasha at WrestleMania to begin with? And I've looked at the comments. A lot of you guys have said no. That's the point I'm trying to make. Sasha Banks elevated Bianca Belair to the highest degree at WrestleMania. And because of your selfishness and your overbooking of two overrated female stars in Charlotte and Becky, you just erased all the work that Sasha Banks and Bayley put in to make Bianca look like a star. It's a slap in the face to both those women. It truly, truly, truly is. We don't know why Sasha Banks is out right now. We don't. But let me say this. If, I'll say this if, because we don't have any confirmation. We don't know. If Becky Lynch was always going to be the replacement for Sasha Banks, and WWE knew that, Sasha Banks should leave WWE tomorrow. She should ask for a release and go straight to AEW and go feud with Britt Baker over the AEW Women's Championship. It's that fucking simple. It's that simple. Because that is the disrespect to everything that woman has done for the company. All right? I'll end the video by saying this. Who has Sasha Banks buried in her time in WWE? Tell me. Who? Has Sasha Banks ever buried somebody? I've seen Charlotte bury people. We went over it earlier. Becky Lynch, no matter, I don't care if you love her or not. Becky Lynch and her overbooking has caused Becky to bury people. But who has Sasha ever buried? I'm starting to think. Sasha's never buried anybody, in my opinion. I've never seen it. Sasha has lost big match after big match because of WWE's overbooking with Charlotte and Becky. Like Charlotte beating Sasha at SummerSlam 2016 or at Hell in a Cell in her hometown in the first ever Women's Hell in a Cell match. Or Becky beating Sasha at Hell in a Cell 2018. But how many times can you truly say that Sasha's buried someone? Because that's not what Sasha does. Sasha Banks isn't that type of person. She cares about other people. She's not just doing this for herself. She cares about elevating everyone around her and making the women's division look as strong as possible. But you don't give a damn about that. Everything Sasha Banks does to elevate this women's division and make it more and more watchable, you just slap her in the face. You just spit at all her hard work. And it's disgraceful that this is the way you treat the best female wrestler of all time. I don't know when Sasha's contract expires, but when it does, a year and a half from now, and if she leaves and goes to AEW or somewhere else and elevates that women's division, because wherever Sasha goes, she elevates and people will follow her. If Sasha Banks one day walks away from WWE before she retires and goes somewhere else, you're going to look back at all the mistreatment you did to her for all these years. And how she continued to still stand by and represent this shithole of a company. It is disgraceful the way you treat this woman. Disgraceful. And I can say a lot more. A lot more. Stuff that may even get me banned from YouTube. So I'll keep my mouth shut. But your treatment of Sasha Banks is disgusting. Your treatment of Bianca Belair, especially at SummerSlam, disgusting. Your treatment of Bayley, disgusting. Your treatment of Asuka, disgusting. Your treatment of everybody else in that women's division, just to elevate only two people in Becky and Charlotte, is pathetic and an embarrassment. It is laughable how you could treat this women's division and call it a women's revolution. It really is. It really is. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. You need Becky Lynch to turn heel to elevate Bianca Belair when Sasha Banks and Bayley spent the whole first part of the year doing that themselves. It's a slap in the face to them and everything they've tried to do for this company. So yeah, I'll just leave you with this. Becky Lynch's heel turn is a slap to the face of Sasha Banks. Because now, whenever Sasha comes back, right? Are you going to keep Sasha as a heel? Are you going to keep Sasha as a heel? Honestly, are you going to keep Sasha as a heel now that you have Becky as the top heel on SmackDown? Are you going to have Sasha play second fiddle to Becky again? When true wrestling fans know that Sasha Banks is way better than Becky Lynch? I wonder. But this company is a joke. It really is. And I'm going to play something for you guys. I didn't do a Raw review because I just didn't feel like it. There's nothing happened on Raw last night. Nothing happened, really. And you would think that it being the Raw after SummerSlam, that, they would make it a big deal. But, of course, they didn't. It was the same old boring, dumbass shit. And I was like, if you're not going to give me a show that has anything to talk about, I'm not going to sit here for an hour and waste my time talking about it. Right? So, I'm going to play the clip because Charlotte Flair cut a promo. Charlotte Flair cut a promo in her celebration of her Raw Women's Championship victory. I'm going to play this promo for you guys. This is the only thing from Raw we're going to talk about, and I'm going to end the podcast. Right. But, back to Sasha Banks. Are you going to have Sasha Banks play second fiddle to Becky Lynch as a heel? There's only one way you can do this right. One way you can do this right. Sasha Banks comes back whenever she's ready. Whatever going on with Sasha, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's physical. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's some spiritual. I don't know if there's a death in her family. I don't know. Right? Let's let Sasha do whatever she has to do, and then when she's ready to come back, she'll come back. But when Sasha comes back, Royal Rumble, babyface Sasha returns. I refuse to have Sasha Banks, even though Sasha's a better heel than she's a babyface. Sasha comes back, babyface. She wins the Royal Rumble, no matter if it's in Boston or wherever it is. And then she goes on, and she beats Becky at WrestleMania. It's that simple. I'm not accepting anything else, really. I'm really not accepting anything else at this point. Right? And Bianca Belair, where does she fit in? I would move Bianca Belair to Raw. If you want, I would move Bianca Belair to Raw because that Raw women's division is in complete shambles. SmackDown's women's division isn't that good either, especially without Sasha. If Sasha's out for a while, that division is going to suffer. Becky's not going to be able to carry that division on her own. She couldn't do it for a year as Raw Women's Champion. So, I would, at least SmackDown has a little bit of a better division than Raw's. I would move Bianca to Raw, and I would have Bianca take the title off of Charlotte. And then I would have Sasha take the title off of Becky Lynch. That's what I would do personally. But we'll see what happens. But Becky Lynch's heel turn is a slap in the face to Sasha. Just like Charlotte Flair being Raw Women's Champion is a slap in the face to the women's division. So I'm going to play you guys Charlotte's promo
it is adorable
real quick.
That you think you could manipulate me.
What did I tell you? What? You tell us every week that you're a robot? We knew that, Charlotte. That you're overrated? We also knew that, Charlotte. What is it? What is it, man? Like, first line of her promo. She's going in with the robotic. She got the robot outfit, right? She's looking like a gray CPU. And then she starts with her robotic tone. Does she ever look in the mirror? Does she ever go back and watch her promos and hears herself and she's like, damn, I sound like an idiot here. Like, truly.
Was there doubt in anyone's mind that I wasn't going to be standing here again? Your Raw Women's Champion?
Yeah, and you're proud that you buried 2 other women in the process, just like you've been burying people your entire main roster career. You're proud of that, right? You're proud of that. You're happy to be champion, and you're proud that you buried people in the process. Great job. Glad to hear it.
Wait. That's how many times now? Oh, I don't have enough fingers to count.
Oh, wow. You're so proud.
Times.
Wow. 12 times. Wow. How many are those? Like I always ask, how many of those fucking reigns are memorable? None of them. WWE wants to keep giving title reign after title reign to Charlotte. But how many of those reigns do you truly remember as being special? None of them. And don't go lying to us that you're a 12-time champion when you're actually a 15-time women's champion. Because I don't forget the 2 times that you held the NXT women's title or the women's tag team title reign that you had with Asuka at the beginning of the year. So don't insult my intelligence. You're a 15-time women's champion. And it's disgraceful that you're a 15-time women's champion.
1-time Divas Champion, 5-time SmackDown Women's Champion, and now your 6-time Raw Women's Champion.
Wow. So proud.
I am the most decorated female in WWE.
And you're also the most overrated female in WWE, the most overrated female star in WWE history. And you want to debate me on that? I dare you to try it. Someone try me in the comment section. I'll make you look like I'll make you look like an idiot.
And once again, no one compares to the opportunity. The Queen and your champion, Charlotte Flair.
I'm
And
glad.
I'm actually surprised. Come on, guys. I'm actually surprised that none of you have made a commemorative statue of me. You know, the Statue of Opportunity.
Yeah. Or the Statue
My
of Burial.
accomplishment-
The Statue of Burial. Here we have Charlotte Flair. That's what your nickname should be. Not the Opportunity, the Burial. People like to blame John Cena for years, right? For freaking burying talent, supposedly. Nah, we should be giving that to Charlotte. The shovel, the cemetery, the graveyard, the burial, the barrier. Yeah, the barrier. I think I'm going to start calling you that. The robot barrier. Huh, that has a good ring to it. How about the WWE shop make merch on that? Why don't you guys just do that instead? The barrier. Disgraceful.
Are unparalleled, and there's not a female superstar who's ever going to come close to the legacy that I'm going to leave behind one day.
Why would someone want your legacy? You're an overrated piece of shit. Why would someone want to have your legacy? Real wrestling fans will remember Charlotte as someone who constantly took opportunities away from other superstars and didn't elevate many people in the process. Right? How many people has Charlotte Flair truly elevated and made bigger stars in her career? Carmella's not a bigger star because she cast it on Charlotte. Nikki ASH ain't a bigger star. Like maybe the only argument you can make is probably for Bayley, right? Because Bayley's heel turn. And plus Bayley cashed in Money in the Bank on Charlotte, but that's really the only one that I can actually think about. Charlotte hasn't elevated anybody ever in her career.
And I'm going to hold on to this title as long as I physically can.
Well, when you bury everybody in your path, there's no legitimate contenders for you. There's no legit contenders on Monday Night Raw. There is nobody I look at in that division that's going to beat Charlotte for that title. That's why you may have to move Bianca Belair to Raw. Even though she'll most likely stay on SmackDown the feud with Becky. But when I look at that Raw Women's division, there is absolutely nobody that I have any confidence in taking that Raw Women's title from Charlotte. Not one person. And that's what you get when you continuously overbook and overpush one superstar, making your women's division basically a monarchy. This is the sad truth. You think Charlotte as champion is elevating people. You think Charlotte as champion is going to elevate the division. If she couldn't elevate the NXT women's division, why would she elevate the main roster division? It doesn't. It's just a monarchy. And it's not good. It does nothing for your women's division. It makes people not want to watch. That's what it does. And it's shameful that you have Charlotte out here talking about her accomplishments and actually believing that she elevates people and she's the best thing for the women's division. It's absolutely shameful.
Because I don't need friends. I do not need family.
I do not need family. Come on, get the fucking robot voice out of here. How can you honestly sit and listen to yourself and think this is good?
Because I don't need friends. I do not need family. And I sure as hell don't need the WWE Universe. Because all I need, I have right here.
And the women's division will continue to suffer.
This morning, I took just these beautiful look in the mirror, and I saw more than just these beautiful cheekbones. This chiseled physique.
Yeah, you finally got rid of those fake boobs. That's the only thing I will congratulate you on. You got rid of those fake boobs. Good job going on the course of being natural. Great job, Charlotte. Great job.
And this glowing talent that only God could have given me. I saw
What talent? You're overrated. When I think of the best women superstars of all time and the best women's wrestlers, you're not even in my top 5. Like, what? What talent? You're overrated as shit.
Women's champion. The opportunity to watch me walk around in this little outfit and this title instead of that pint-sized pretender who had her grubby hands all over this title for about a month.
Yep, there you go. And you're proud that you buried her.
Shut up, because I am here to restore order. And it's time a real woman held this title and made everyone remember what it was like to watch and be proud of watching Monday Night Raw.
You think, Charlotte, oh my gosh, you think people are proud of watching this show with you as champion? How fucking delusional are you? There has never been a time, Raw or SmackDown, even NXT, there's never been a time when I have watched the show and saw that you were on it, and that made me more proud of myself. I have never been proud of watching WWE TV and knowing that you were going to be on the show. Never. Unless it was a match against Sasha Banks. That's it. I have never been proud of watching Charlotte Flair on TV. What kind of delusional fantasy world are you living in? Honestly, how do you go to bed thinking that you're this great when you're just overrated? When Sasha Banks and Bayley, during the pandemic, when they were on 03 shows with the Women's Tag Team Championships, and Bayley is the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Sasha when she was Raw Women's Champion, right? That's when I was proud as a wrestling fan. That's when I was proud of watching those shows, because I knew that those two, everything that they did was meant to elevate the women's division and elevate the show around them and make the company better. You don't do that. You make women's wrestling disgraceful to watch, especially when you're on top, because you do nothing to elevate anybody. All you do is elevate yourself, and real wrestling fans know that you're just overrated.
I'm not messing around anymore.
Oh
I hope
my
every
gosh.
single female
I'm not messing around anymore. Ridiculous, bro. Fucking robot shit.
in that locker room is listening. I hope the WWE Universe was like to held this time, and it's time.
Why is this promo so
real
long?
Woman held this title and made everyone remember what it was like to watch and be proud of watching Monday Night Raw. I'm not messing around anymore. I hope every single female in that locker room is listening. I hope the WWE Universe is listening. I started the first ever Women's Evolution.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It was Sasha Banks. It wasn't you. It wasn't you. You had a part to play, but we all know who truly started the women's revolution. Fuck out of here. You have done nothing to elevate the women's division. Nothing. You have made it worse. You're one of the reasons why the women's revolution doesn't even matter that much in WWE anymore. Because of you. Because of you. Don't go lie to the people.
Tonight, I'm starting a new one. Long live the Queen.
Long may.
Yeah, long live the Queen. Yep, you can reign and be on top as much as you want, as long as you want, and everybody else will suffer. I'm glad you're proud of yourself. Hold that title for as long as possible, and we won't remember a second from your reign because it won't be memorable. We'll remember Sasha and Bayley carrying the women's division during the pandemic. We'll remember that. We'll remember Asuka's historic NXT title reign. We'll remember that. We'll remember the real first women's main event in WrestleMania history. Because it damn well wasn't Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. It was Sasha and Bianca. We'll remember that. So you can stay on top as long as you want and live in your little delusional fantasy world, right? Because Charlotte got his... Oh, man. Let me stop myself. Because I was about to say something really, really bad. But yeah, you can live on top as long as you want, because we all know how much Vince loves his blondes. But you can believe that for as long as you want. But the real wrestling fans know. The real wrestling fans know how to fix this women's division. And how you are not the solution. And you are not a positive. But you are the problem with this women's division. Just like Becky Lynch is now a problem with the women's division. The overbooking of Becky and Charlotte is the biggest problem with the women's division in 2021. And will continue to be that way as long as Vince gets his head or has his head shoved up their asses. It's that simple. Becky and Charlotte are not the answer. They are the problem. And as long as Vince is in charge, it will continue to be that way. I'll say this one more time before I end the video. Charlotte Flair is now the Raw Women's Champion. Becky Lynch is now the SmackDown Women's Champion. Both are now heels. Both of them being at the top of the division, and Becky Lynch's heel turn especially is a slap in the face to Sasha Banks and the women's division as a whole. It's that simple. We'll watch as both those divisions suffer in the coming months with them on top once again. And I will be here like I always am, reminding you guys of the truth, because I'm one of the only people around here that can do it. It's sad, but that is the truth. That is the truth. But anyway, I digress. that's about all I got for you guys for this video, man. I didn't expect this bonus pod to go on so long, but you guys know me. I spit nothing but facts. And this whole podcast was filled with facts, and you can't tell me less. But let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. Like always, guys, thank you guys for all the love and support. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, go check out the SummerSlam review. It is live on the channel. I do plan to have an AEW... I do plan to have an AEW Dynamite review up this week. You know, actually would be my second AEW Dynamite review, but I do plan to be covering AEW going forward, so watch out for that. You know, we'll see what happens with SmackDown later this week with Becky and Brock. I don't know what's gonna happen with Sasha. For right now, I wouldn't expect to see her on the show unless we get some kind of announcement. But we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for the love and support. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe. Hit that bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Follow me down on social media. The link's in the description down below. I'll see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.